Well, it is difficult to kind of, from a national level, say how many contact times someone should have a week, because it does vary from subject to subject. So the amount that I would expect someone studying medicine to have per week would be drastically different to someone studying law or politics or English. But what I am clear about is that universities need to be much clearer and upfront at the point of application, so that when a student enrolls onto a course of politics at a particular university or history, they know how many contact hours they're going to get, they know how many lectures they're going to get, they know how many seminars they're going to get, and where it's appropriate, how much lab-based time they're going to get as well. And I actually think lots of students sign up to university and they're frankly shocked when they go from an A-level, from a system of A-levels where it's relatively intensive, to being left completely on their own. We should also bear in mind that, of course, by the time of graduation, a student should be directing their own learning. So having lots of contact by the end of year 3 isn't necessarily in the interests of the student and not necessarily a symbol of a higher education. But the transition needs to be managed. And actually some universities, I think, abdicate their responsibility for teaching pretty early on in year 1.
Do you think there's a point to the first year of university if you only have to get 40% to pass?
Well, I think the first year of university actually is very important. It's an important bridge between what came before higher education and moving into a degree level programme. It's also important for many people to actually find their bearings. For some people there's a lot of actually personal and social change. So it's the first time many are living away from home. But I also think universities don't give enough credibility and enough attention to induction into higher education. I think they should be asking questions like, what do students want to get out of their degree programme? How is higher education different to anything that's come before it? What kinds of skills do students need to be self-aware of, where they're strong and where they're weak? That should be an integral part of induction, but frankly those questions don't seem to be asked.
And what about the idea of 2-year courses? Is that something you think you would support?
I don't think that 2-year degrees are a solution that should be pursued with any great kind of volume, not least because there is a very good reason why degrees are structured over 3 years, which is to allow for the amount of knowledge to be picked up, but also because it accepts that people are supposed to change over a degree programme in terms of refining critical thinking, group working skills, the ability to communicate, the ability to time manage, the ability to balance a range of different activities. And actually just shoehorning everything into 2 years, I think will lose a lot of those important skills, particularly for those that go through the traditional route, so the full-time 18 to 22-year-old. For someone that's perhaps done a degree already, or someone that's maybe been in the workforce for 30 years and they want to just do a degree to perhaps reskill to go into work, actually, if they are perhaps going to do a 2-year degree which is taught over 45 weeks of the year as opposed to 3 years at 30 weeks, actually I can see a case, but I do think it's for a very small number of people, and it would be a dangerous precedent to set if the bulk of undergraduate teaching was done over a 2-year degree. A final point, for universities that think it's a cost saving, actually it's not. It doesn't cost 2/3 of a degree to teach it over 2 years. Actually, it's probably more expensive to teach a course over 2 years because you have to open up universities when they'd generally be shut, and actually you still need to get the cost of the teaching in, which is the bulk of higher education costs.